Drummers, if you're looking for an academic and simple way to use traditional grip strength devices like this, and even the simple iron ones that your grandfather might have down in the basement, stick around today. We're going to be going deep into some of the science. We'll start with some basic ideas to work on 3 different adaptations, and then we'll even blow it up with a bit more academic thinking at the very end using biomechanics. Let's go. Getting started, there's a few things to consider. First, what device are you going to buy? I'm going to recommend that you buy a lighter to medium device if you're going to buy one, or honestly, go to a garage sale and you'll probably find one of these for $1, if not less, because so many people have bought these things in the past for martial arts and other reasons. You can go to your local music store, and most music stores will have things like this that have individual fingers, and you can find a myriad of other systems like this for physiotherapy and hand rehab and even arm wrestling training that'll serve the exact purpose that we're talking about today. Before jumping in, I will throw this out there to you. The majority of these exercises, as soon as you start fatiguing, your performance will start to decrease. And why that's significant is you have to recognize that if you're going to do this prior to playing the drums and you start fatiguing using this device, your quality of playing in your hands will absolutely decrease. So we're going to talk about a few different scenarios today where you do not want to fatigue and you do want to fatigue, and how I use these. The last thing I'll say before we get started is if you're performing this exercise and you have that nagging pain here or here, and it gets exemplified and exacerbated by using this device, don't do it. Go find a primary healthcare practitioner and talk to them about it first, and even message me if you like, because there might be some alternative strategies that we can do. So let's get into this thing. What I've got here is I have a metronome and I've got a hand device. It's all you need. You, in fact, don't even need the metronome, but I'm doing it to show you how you can actually use this in some really kind of fun settings. From a skeletal muscle perspective, I'm going to make this very simplified, but there are 3 different types of adaptations you can get from fitness. Not true, but making it very simple for today. One is RFD, rate of force development, which you could consider is the speed, how quickly you can perform something. Second is force development, and force development in a lot of the academic literature is very similar, not exactly, but bear with me, science heads, with strength. So we have how quickly can you produce force and rate of force development, and then second you have force development, FD, which is very similar to strength. Now both rate of force development and force development, quickly, the peak rate and peak rate of force and peak force development diminish as you start getting tired. And we've all seen this, right? You're doing an exercise, you're strong, you're curling 60-pound dumbbells, whatever, a lot of weight, and you start getting tired and things start dropping off and you can't do the same. So that's important to consider. And then the third one is actually endurance. And this one we have to start, not always, but we have to start nudging into fatigue. Now, bear with me if I'm kind of like giving you some rules, but at the same time kind of challenging myself, because truthfully, none of these rules are concrete. This is the only way to do it. That's the tough part with a lot of the things I'm talking about, but I still want to give you some concepts that you can start taking away. So let's get started with rate of force development first, how quickly you can do something. So when we're doing this, I want you to consider, what are you working on first? Are you working on your forearm strength? Or are you actually working on your fingers, right? And this is very different because truthfully, for different types of players, like traditional players, right? For traditional players, if you're using your forearm, we have to consider working more on this pronation to supination grip. Also some of the fingers in that. If you're playing more traditional like we are here, there is a combination of both forearm, wrist muscle, and finger muscles. If you're thinking about forearm and wrist, what I want you to do is place the device close to the fingertips here, so close to here and in the forearm, in the palm rather. So you'll be holding it more like so. And you can see my fingertips are wrapped around it. When I squeeze, this is actually backwards right now. There we go. You'll actually be getting more of the forearm muscles involved. If you want to actually work on fingers like thumb and fingertips, which is very important for stick control, in my opinion, you're going to place it on the digits of your fingers. So you'll be holding it kind of like that, as you can see here. Both of these are viable options, and for the sake of not fatiguing, I'm actually going to do the wrist version as we get started. So, rate of force development. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put on tempo advanced metronome at 90 BPM, and what I want you to do is in time, try to squeeze this thing as fast as you can. So what I'm doing is I've got it here, and I'm going to try and actually do this with the click. So what I'm trying to do is literally think about squeezing and compressing the entire thing as fast as I can in time. Pretty simple, right? It's actually harder than it sounds. Try to do it as fast as you can. Great. Maybe you're advanced with that and you find that extremely simple, like I do right now. Next thing what I want you to do is actually try to perform the same thing, but now entering into subdivisions. So right now I'm playing the quarter note. Now I'm actually going to move to eighth notes. Right? And so instantly, by trying to do this quickly as you can, we're starting to work on the explosiveness. Cool. So we can go quarter notes, getting used to it. Boop, boop, boop. Then we can move to eighth notes. And then we can actually start moving to triplet and 16th note subdivisions, but we start to get tired pretty quickly with these heavier resistances. So here's what I actually prefer to do. I actually like to work on this more personally in kind of like the double stroke idea. So instead of playing it as continuous notes, I'm actually going to play it as the 2 16th notes of a double stroke. So we'll go 1E, 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, and trying to play it as clean as I can. And as you can probably hear, trying to actually hear the percussive sound of the device here. So all of those work on very simply. I'm trying to give you a lot. You can work on how fast you do it. Bop, fast, fast, fast. And you'll start to see that you'll get tired. If you don't get tired, try to move to the eighth notes. 1 and 2 and great. And then if you're feeling good with that, move to the 16th note grid, but only play the 2 notes. And the reason why I'm saying only the 2 notes is if you start playing the 3 notes, like the 1E and, you can do that, but you're starting to decrease the amount of rest in between the notes and you'll start to feel some fatigue. So as an advanced idea, already jumping ahead, we can actually do that strategically. So rate of force development, fast as I can. 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E. Cool. Now, I'm going to actually do a rate of force development drop set. And how I'm measuring a drop set is decreasing the intensity based off of my fatigue level. So as soon as I start feeling some of that burning my arm, I'm going to change how I'm doing this. So I'm going to play 3 notes, 1E and, 1E and, 1E and, 1E and. As soon as I start getting tired a little, I'm going to go to 1E, 2E, and then I'm going to go to just straight quarter notes. So okay, 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, do 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 1E. Cool, right? So you see what I'm trying to do here? I'm being a bit demonstrative for the camera's sake to try and help share these ideas quickly. But that already there, you have a bunch of ideas. Do you want to work on getting faster with your hands and getting a little bit more power? Absolutely fantastic. Rate of force development. Can you squeeze this on the quarter notes, eighth notes, and then the 1E and any other double subdivision in a 16th note grid? You could also do this as quarter notes, 1 and, 3 and. And then if you want to start working on endurance, you're going to do the 1E and, 2E and as soon as you start fatiguing, scale back the number of notes to 1E, 2E, 3E, and then back to quarters. And if you're feeling good, you can start pyramiding back up and down. And in fact, that's pretty much what I do personally, is if I'm on an airplane and I'm traveling and I want to work on my hands, I'll go the 3 notes, down to the 2 notes, down to the 1 note. Once I start recovering with the 1 note, I go back up to the 16th note 2s and then to the 3s, and I go back and forth. Cool, right? Great. Now, force development is another one. Now, force development is strength. And this is where you need different gauge grippers, right? Like this is a medium grip, there's a heavy grip, and a light grip. So what I'm going to do so you guys can actually see me not be good at this, we don't need the metronome for this, is I'm going to actually grab it with my fingertips, because my fingertips, right, the flexor digitorum longus and brevis and many other smaller muscles in here, they're smaller and less capable of producing force at high levels than my larger forearm muscles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on the tip of my thumb and my fingertips. And what I'm going to do, I'll just do this. Look at the timer on the clock here. Is I'm going to try and squeeze this as hard as I can. And you can see that even with the medium grip, I can't get it with my pinky finger, but I'm holding it and then relaxing. So what I would encourage you to do is pick a length of time. And I like 3 to 5 Mississippi, and squeeze as hard as you can. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, rest. And truth is, you can use the metronome at 60 BPM, and it's a perfectly viable option. Now, as you can see here, I can't squish that very good, especially on the pinky finger side. So that lets me know on my left hand, my pinky finger is actually less strong. So Here's an interesting thing. Getting into deep fitness, right? Different modes of contraction. When I take my long muscle and move to short, that's called a concentric or myometric contraction. When I stay perfectly still, that's called an isometric. And then when I lengthen things and open things, that's an eccentric or plyometric contraction. So I, with my pinky finger, cannot concentrically compress it here. So here's what I'm going to do. Advanced. Try this. I'm going to take my other hand. There, how can I do this? There. I'm going to assist my pinky finger to squish it down, right? So I'm using my good hand to hold it. So my thumb on the right hand is assisting my weak pinky finger. Now I'm going to remove my right hand and control the opening as best as I can. As you can see, I can barely do it, but I'm still exposing my pinky finger to higher levels of force than I normally can do on the concentric end. And the truth is that as we move to eccentric lengthening ranges, you're actually stronger and more capable than concentric. Right? Think of it this way. If I said bicep curl as much weight as you can, maybe you can curl a 35-pound dumbbell. Great. But you can't budge the 40. But if I handed you a 40-pound dumbbell while you're up in this top position, you could sustain it and you could hold it there, but you can't curl it up. So that means that you can't concentrically curl it, but you have more force production at the top position when you're holding it isometrically in any joint position. Then, if I said, how much could you lower with control? I could probably put a 55-pound dumbbell in your hand, and you probably can't hold it still, but you can control the descent down. And the controlling the descent down is exposing your skeletal muscle to higher amounts of force eccentrically, and has been well proven to help with hypertrophy and over time strength development, plyometric contractions. Super cool. So quickly, we have the two, right? We've got the rate of force development, which you can also do with the fingertips like I was showing you here. Then you also have force development, which is taking something that's heavier and squeeze it for a length of period of time. And then endurance, obviously, I already kind of alluded to that with the rate of force development side of things, but there are two ways to go about doing this. I'll go back to the wrist dominant version, and then I'll go to a more advanced idea for you. Going back to this click, what I can do is pick the subdivision, and I won't do this the whole time. Let's say I'm just doing the 8s again. I can set a timer on, and I can try to do this for a full minute or 5 minutes at a time. I can also choose faster subdivisions if I want. Triplets. And see how long I can do that for. That's pretty simple, right? This is already kind of fun because now this gripper is becoming more of like an actual time exercise as well too. Really hard to do this while I'm talking, by the way. So everyone that does that professionally, way to go, drummers. The other thing, and this is actually quite simple, is setting up a timer on your phone or anywhere you've got a timer, and pick a tension and hold it and try to hold it for as long as you can, compressing it all the way and staying perfectly still. What you'll start to find, and this is what's really important actually, drummers, is, right hand dominant left, right? For most right-handed people, laterality. It's very normal that laterality, your dominant side will be a little bit stronger than your left, than your non-dominant side. But what you can do, and I like to do this, is I'll always start everything with my non-dominant side, my left. I set a timer and I will go for as long as I can. And let's say I can keep this compressed without it moving for 90 seconds, for example. Then I'll actually only do 90 seconds on my right hand unless so try and balance things out, unless I'm committed to improving my right hand speed for some specific pattern. So yeah, that's a lot of kind of cool ideas and kind of like throwing out there to you. The reason why I like to do this and share as much as I can, I believe giving you as much information so you can choose what you like is great. So we got rate of force development ideas, force development ideas, and endurance ideas. Now, advanced for the people that are sticking around at this point. The radial ulnar joint. So if you've ever looked at the anatomy of the forearm, right, we have the ulna and the radius in this position, and we're playing drums. Our radius bone is actually, right, radially turned around our ulna, and it's actually crossed over. So if I was holding my arm out like so, my radius is actually crossed over and creating an X pattern with the forearm. Kind of cool. That also means that the length tension relationship of the muscles in my arm is different. I'm going to be a different strength level with my palm up doing these squeezing exercises than neutral than in the position I play drums. And truthfully, the position we play drums, we're often actually the weakest because a lot of our muscles are in extremely shortened positions. So you can do this exercise in any arm position you like. But what I would encourage you to do, advanced idea, is do it from many positions, but 2 positions. The position that you play the drumsticks and the position you play the drumsticks fully extended. Because oftentimes if we've got a ride cymbal or a secondary or tertiary cymbal that's really far away, I want you to practice doing these same things with your arms out in front of you. This is a little awkward to do on the airplane. Don't do that. But if you're at home, this is a very different experience than doing it from here. and both have a ton of validity. Truth is, if you get stronger in any position, there is skeletal muscle carryover because of them. If you put a V8, if I build a V8 motor over here, it's still going to apply to producing torque over here, so to speak. So any wrist position is up for grabs. So you can do a lot of cool things with this. The truth is, these grip strength things, very versatile. The real only limitation is the creativity you have with its application. So listen, if you found this valuable, let me know below what you liked about it. And if you want more information and more structured ideas, different ideas, do you want to get faster, build more endurance, try this out. This is not a corrective strategy if you're having elbow pain. It can be, but not the purpose of this. And if you like this, please like and subscribe. Share it with a friend because truthfully, I want to help as many drummers play as long as they possibly can. And if you're liking more of this, I post some nerdy stuff on my Instagram at Drum Mechanics. And super honored to have you here. Stronger drummers play longer. This is Brandon from Drum Mechanics. If you like my stuff, you can check out my gym, Strata Internal Performance and Fitness Pro Mentors, and keep making it rain, drummers. Have fun, and let me know below what you think.